So hey guys, I want to make a video because I've been having like an existential crisis and I need to talk to somebody. So here's the thing, like, I know we're all interconnected in some way, and I think thoughts have a lot to do with the interconnectivity, but I'm also obsessed. I'm having an existential crisis, guys. So here's what it is. I need to get comfy because we're gonna talk. So here's what's going on. You're my therapist. You're my YouTube therapist. We're talking about it. So I'm like obsessed with like how time keeps just like going by, and like, I mean, honestly, if you think about it, I mean, of course it makes sense. Of course time's going by, but like sometimes I get like, I get paranoid. I'm like, is this like the time-space continuum? Like, is the time-space continuum ever changing? Like, and how come sometimes I can foretell the future? Like, am I glitching the time-space continuum? Am I going from, is my brain like a time machine? Like, because I thought this guy, his name was Devin. Devin, I'm talking to you. So I'm talking to Devin, okay? Devin, I'm so scared, because before we hung out for the first time, I was like thinking about how it would go, and it kind of went the way I thought. And then here's what really hit me is when, because before we hung out, I thought, like, I was just imagining that he would like ask me out for coffee. I was just like imagining it for no reason. Like, I guess I was just like fantasizing in my head, and like it actually happened. That's practically foreseeing the future. Like, what is that? Is my brain glitching the time-space continuum? Like, are our brains capable of traveling through space and time? You know? Like, that's why I'm having this existential crisis. I want to cry. But I know that I'm not the only one, because a lot of people have this. A lot of people have foretold the future. A lot of people, they call it manifesting. They call it creating your own reality, but I don't think that's really what it is. I think what it is the interconnectivity of me and you, like, via empathy, and also like maybe brains can connect via imagination and images. Because I mean, if you think about it, the human brain is really complex, and I mean, if the human brain can create images, you know, what else can it do? It can probably connect with other brains, right? Via images and like thoughts. I don't know, because like empathy is a thing everyone already knows. Like, our brains are connected via empathy already as it is, and like nobody even cares to even think about it. Like, because every time I go to work, I'm always constantly having these conversations with my customers in our heads, like, and like I'll have this empathy and I'll know how they're feeling, and I know how I'm feeling, and I'll have like conversations with them in my head, and like it'll feel like a real conversation, you know? Maybe that's really it. Maybe we're really having conversations in each other's heads, because it makes sense. It makes sense. The brain, we don't know a lot about the brain. But everybody knows. You can feel the vibe, right? The vibe is like empathy, okay? Empathy, you're feeling other people's emotions. How are you going to do that if our brains aren't connected? They're talking to each other. But why? And how? Why is my brain connecting to your brain? Why do I know how you feel? That's why I'm confused. Like, wouldn't we have to be the same creature? But that's also not right, because at the same time, clearly there's other creatures in this world. I can look around and see my pug. It's clearly another creature that's clearly there. So obviously there's other living things, but why? You know, I just get so perplexed and confused as to why these things are even happening. You know? And like, I'm staring at this piece of glass and it looks like, you know how they have the Ouija thing? Like, it looks like an eyeball, but it's like crystallized. I can show you. So that's what it looks like. See what I mean? Like right there, and then the eyeball right there. Like, that just stuck out to me. And like, I feel like stuff like that happens, but like it seems like significant for some reason. Like, you know, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I know you know what I mean. Right? It's because we're human. That's why. Isn't that weird? Like, first of all, why are we so interconnected with each other? You know, I mean, I know we're all the same race, but it's also with like animals. You can really like look into their eyes. Like, I was at the fair and I was looking into these horses' eyes, and you can really, you can tell how they feel. And we're not even the same race. We're not the same species. You know? Is how you feel how I feel? I think that's the answer. I think we have conversations with other people in our heads, and I feel like if we're talking negatively about them, they'll talk negatively about you back. So like, you're literally having a negative conversation in your head with these other people. Like, they're actually talking to you through your brain. That's how I think. And I know that's not like proven, but if one day it is, I was the one that knew. No, because everyone kind of knows. I mean, everyone has empathy. Everyone knows how each other's feeling, you know? Empathy. I think. Unless I don't. Unless I'm just having a conversation with myself. No, but even then, how the flying fuck would I know that he's gonna ask me out for coffee? That don't make no sense. That's happened multiple times. I've had, you know, that with my ex-boyfriend, Elijah, too, and I predicted my friend Kali. I predicted her name and how she would act, and she'd be into manifesting. She was like that. How is that possible? People call it manifesting, but you don't answer my question. How is that possible? How is that possible? How is that possible? I'm not God. You know how I know I'm not God? Because God, if I was God, I would be able to leave my body and go somewhere else. I mean, I guess I kind of can when I go to sleep. I'm scared. That train scared me. I'm actually scared. I'm having an existential crisis. That train sounded significant. I farted. No, but like, you know what I mean? Like, You know what I mean? No, but like, because I used to think I was God. And I really felt like I was, because me and Elijah, my friend Elijah, my ex-boyfriend, we were connected, bro. And I knew what he was thinking. We were definitely connected through brains. We were connected through brains. Like, our brains were connected. And I know our brains were connecting, because we were literally messaging each other through our brains. I swear to God we were. Because, I would say to myself, oh, I think he's gonna, I'm gonna have a notification from him on Facebook, and then the next second I had a notification that he commented on my Facebook post. Like, it was literally split second the whole time with him. The whole fucking time. Split second. You could call it a manifestation. But what truly is a manifestation? I didn't do that. He did that. He did that, not me. But I knew it was gonna happen. How'd I know that? Unless he told me. Through our brains. Hear me out. You're thinking about your soulmate, and you're thinking, you know, my soulmate's gonna look like this or have this, and then you meet somebody, and then they have that. Like, my mom in the car, she said there's invisible strings that connect us all. I was like, you're right. Like, I know, everybody knows, but they don't know. Nobody, like, they know, but they don't know. Like, if I was God, I would know the answer. But I don't know. I'm always constantly confused, so that can't possibly be the answer. I'm a human being. But at the same time, I feel like God sometimes. And it's really weird. You know, but if I was God, like I said, I would be able to get out of my body and go somewhere else, I swear to God. So that can't be it. Like, if I was God, I want to be a couch. I can't do that. I can imagine I'm a couch, though. Yeah. I can imagine I'm a couch, but I'm not really a couch. You know? What is imagination? Guys, what is imagination? I think it's the thing that connects us all somehow. But I also don't know what it is. Like, it's connecting us all. Somehow, it has to be. Because, I mean, if you think about it, when you imagine a scenario and then it ends up happening, obviously, we're connected somehow. Obviously, we were talking to each other through our brains somehow. You know? Or something. Or maybe I don't know. You know? Maybe I don't know. You know, I know that I don't know. Because how... But I also know that I know something. But I just don't know how to... I don't know what it is. Sometimes I feel like I know something. I feel like the more I think I know, the less I actually truly know. I feel like sometimes when I really know everything, then I really know everything. You know? But it's also so confusing because I can sit here and say I'm God and then at the same time I'm not. Like, I feel like I am, but I'm not at the same time. I guess we're all interconnected. Somehow. I don't know why. It's really weird. Because, like, like sometimes I get really weird in my head. I get really weird and I think all these weird things and I'm like, why am I thinking that? You know, sometimes I don't know why I'm thinking these things. Maybe it's a want or a need. Maybe it's some sort of an evolutionary, communicative skill that humans have. I mean, it would make sense. You know, humans from far away to be able to connect to each other. You know? I don't know. I mean, it makes sense because, like, if I was in the wild and there's danger around, you'd be able to connect to the dangerous brain, and you'd be able to sense it. I mean, there's something creepy going on. Because there's been plenty of people who've sensed, like, something outside, and something told them not to go outside. What is that something? I think it's that thing, you're connecting to it. And you're connecting to how it feels. But why? Like, how would I know how you feel? And how would I know I'm in danger when I don't really even know I'm in danger, but I do at the same time? You know? Like, there's this person who commented on one of his YouTube videos about, like, scary stuff that's happened to them and that something told them not to do something. And then she said there was a giant moose outside, but she had no clue, but she ended up closing the door and seeing it or something, and she's like, oh my god, I'm so glad I didn't go out there because there's a giant moose out there. How would her brain have known that if they wouldn't have connected to the moose brain? I know that sounds so silly, but I'm serious. How would I have known that there's danger unless I was connected to the danger via brain? Everything has a brain. If you think about it, everything has a brain. That means we're all related. Mice have brains, animals all have brains. Even little bugs have brains of some sort. It may look a little different, but they still got one. You know? But why? Brain. What is a brain? I mean, I know it's an organ, but what is it? You truly gotta delve deep into what a brain is. A wrinkly mass. Why? Why is it... I know why it's wrinkly, but why is it wrinkly? Why is it gotta be wrinkly? Like, why can I stick my finger in the crevice of my brain and go, oh yeah, tickle, tickle. You know, tickling the amygdala. I don't know. You know what tickles my amygdala? Nothing, because I don't know what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, like, what? Like, being alive is so weird. Like, being a human is so weird. Like, what is that? Why am I here? Like, I know why I'm here now. Like, I feel like I know why I'm here now. I'm to, like, experience stuff. But it's like, why is it always so weird? Life has always been a little weird. Even when I was little, life was weird. I remember when I was little, I would see, like, you know how at night you see, like, little speckles of, like, static? I would look into that and see, like, faces. It's always been weird. But I think if you look into things, they might make sense. So, here's my theory on what that was. Since I was little, you know, animals have instincts. Humans are mammals, which is a kind of animal. So, my theory is that looking into the static and seeing those faces was God telling you to be afraid of the dark, because if we think about it from an evolutionary perspective, we should be scared of the dark. Because at night, you can't see. There could be predators, creepy people, just weird things, but I think that could be it. So maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it was like the spirits tell me, hey, there's danger in the dark. And it's not a bad thing. It's not, because at the same time, it's like protecting you. In a way, because evolutionary, if you look at it from an evolutionary perspective, if you would have never seen those faces, you'd never be scared of the dark. If you're never scared of the dark, you go into the dark and go, oh, I feel fine, and then something eats you. Or something kills you. So maybe it's a good thing. Like sometimes, honestly, that would make sense. Like, that makes the most sense to me. It really does. Like, it really makes the most sense to me. It's telling you to be scared, and then after a while you stop being scared of the dark. But even now, as you get older, you do get scared of the dark, because there could be something dangerous in the dark. Like, if you're going around a city in the dark, you start to get a little nervous, because there could be people around that could murder you, or, if you're in the dark in the forest or something, you're really going to be paranoid, because you can't see, you're in a foreign environment, there's a bunch of trees everywhere, there's branches, you hear being snapped by some weird animals, it makes sense, honestly. And also, here's another thing. If I was God, wouldn't I be able to not wake up in my body every day? Wouldn't I not be able to do that? Because I feel like if I was God, I'd not want to do that every day. Like, wouldn't I just want to do something else? I always got to come back to the same body. Why is that? Obviously, I'm not God then. I always think about that. I'm a living organic creature, and I don't really know as much as I think I do. And I think that sometimes, maybe, honestly, if you think about it, if your thoughts create your reality, I don't think that's necessarily what it is. I think you're talking to different beings, and you're having a conversation. And I think that's why things happen, is because you and another creature had a conversation, and you made a plan. Like something tells you to go outside, and then you see someone on their bike riding, and it was the person that you were just talking to on the internet. Because that happened to me when I met my ex-boyfriend Elijah. And it felt weird. It's like, why is this happening to me? And I remember thinking I thought he was my soulmate. But now I don't think that anymore. But at the time I did, and it was really working. And I really felt like God, because I was controlling my thoughts, and we would have conversations in my head, and those conversations would manifest immediately. And I really think that can be a piece of what it is that we're talking in our heads. And it doesn't matter how far away you are, because we're all connected, and we can all talk from far away. If you're thinking about somebody and you're having a conversation with them in your head, that's really how it happens. And Devin, I'm sorry, and I know this might be weird, but if you ever watch this video, I'm sorry, but this is a part of the story, and I'm gonna take this to the next level, because my friend Devin, I love my friend Devin, but here's the thing. Okay, love is a strong word. I like my friend Devin, But I do love my friend Devin at the same time. I'm a loving creature. I love my friend Devin. But I don't mean that romantically. I mean I care about him. But anyway, I mean, who doesn't love their friends? But anyway, so my friend Devin, if you know the story behind that, I blocked him, he blocked me. You know, I blocked him first because we were having some conflicting emotions. I already told YouTube this story. I'm not going into it right now. But anyway, I unblocked him, and then I went on Facebook and messaged him because he didn't block me on Facebook. And I messaged him. I was like, hey Devin, how are you? And then we started talking again for like a week or two. And then after, he blocked me, you know, out of nowhere. I had apologized for blocking him the first time, and then I woke up and found out that he blocked me. And I cried, and I thought in my head, I was like, you know, maybe he's going through something, you know, maybe, you know, he wants to kill himself or something like that. And sure enough, later, months and months later, we're friends again because he unblocked me. I also thought he would unblock me, and I thought he would feel awful about blocking me, and all that stuff was true. How would I have known that? Unless we already had this conversation in my head. We were connecting via brains. I really think that. Because honestly, I mean, it makes sense. Everyone has a brain, you know? And I mean, Wi-Fi exists. Why wouldn't brain Wi-Fi exist? I mean, honestly, we don't know very much about the brain. We know less about the brain than the ocean, practically, right? Something like that. We probably know less about the brain than outer space. We don't know much about the brain. The brain is very complex. And that's also why I think, you know, I mean, I have a purpose. Everybody has their purpose. Everyone does. And I'm sorry, Devin, that I told everyone you were suicidal. But anyway, this is a part of the story. If you watch this, well, I guess that means you love me then. Because you're gonna watch 27 minutes of my video. Anyway, I like Devin. He's my friend. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know why I like Devin so much. He's just, I don't know. I like my friend. And then, you know, sometimes I wonder, why do I like people? And why do I not like people? I feel like it's because we're having conversations with them in our head. And it's really the truth. Because even with customers, I have conversations with them in my head. And, you know, if I have a negative one, the vibe seems to change. And it in turn makes me feel weird. It's probably because we're talking to each other in our heads. Makes sense to me. I mean, if you think about it, aliens. If we were aliens, we'd be telepathic, wouldn't we? Well, we're living on a rock in outer space. I think that means we're an alien. And we have spaceships that go into outer space. But I'm just saying, like, there's so much in this world that I don't truly understand. There's more to this world than meets the eye. There's more to this world than I can possibly understand. And even if I think I know the answer, 100% of the time I don't know the answer. There's always a surprise. Why is that? Why is there always a surprise? I don't know. Even if I think I'm going to manifest something, I might manifest it in a different way. It's like, what is manifesting? I don't even like that word. I don't like that term. I didn't do anything. I didn't. All I did was think. I think we're communicating with our environment. I think that's a good way of putting it. You know, like how you strum an instrument and it echoes on into eternity and it vibrates and everyone else can hear it. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that, but you know what I mean? It's communicating with the environment. Bing, and then everything else around it goes ding and vibrates like that. Maybe that's what our brainwaves are doing. They're vibrating towards each other and going hopefully not. But anyway, you know, what is a spiritual experience? But an experience that we're already having all the time. Like, you can't have a spiritual experience. You can have the experience of being human. You can call it a spiritual experience, but is that truly what it is? I mean, if you think about it like that, then yes, I guess it would be. But if you think about it in a different way, then it changes your perspective on things. I think it's good to question what you think you know about things, because you don't actually know for sure. Like, I can say I'm going to meet my soulmate tomorrow. I've said that for years and years. And, you know, nothing happened except for one time. One time I was crying in my room, and I missed my ex-boyfriend Elijah because I thought we had a special connection. But what I think it is yes, we were connected, but I think that you can connect to every human being like that. And especially if you love somebody, because it's shown scientifically that brains can sync up when you're in love. But I think that's always the case. I think we're always synced up. You know? I said this in my other videos. Because it makes sense. Empathy, that must mean our brains are synced up. It's really that easy. It's simple. But why? Is that me? Is that me? Like, you know? Maybe it is. Maybe it's me in a different body. Maybe that's the essence of me in a different body. Or maybe I'm nuts. That could be it. But how would I be nuts if I'm foreseeing the future? You know? I'm obviously not that nuts. There's something communicating with me, and it must be another organic living being. Right? How else would I foresee the future? It makes sense to me that we already had that conversation in our heads before it actually happened. Maybe I should talk to Devin about some things. I mean, Devin is my friend. I think I should talk to him about some of this stuff because, I talk to stuff like this with my friend Kali in Hawaii, and I just feel like more people understand than you'd think. Because, I mean, we're all human. We all have brains. You know? We all have an experience. And I used to think I was God to the point where I thought I could do whatever I wanted. So I asked this guy's brother for sex that I was seeing. And that's when I realized, you know, I can't do whatever I want. And it really, it taught me that, yes, I was fucking crazy. But also, it taught me that that's not completely the answer. Sometimes you gotta do something crazy to get an answer. You know? Like that. Like when I moved to Hawaii, I said I'd meet my soulmate in Hawaii, and I said her name would be Kali. And there's been multiple people. You know, I've said all kinds of things. I make a bunch of soulmates up in my head. I really do. One of them was kind of like Devin. I love Devin. He's my friend. But I'm just saying, like, I never did anything with Kali, but I do think she was one of my soulmates. And my friend, what's her name? She was a model. Said I wanted a French model. She wasn't French, but she was definitely a model. In Hawaii, I met her. But, and then Devin. I always had this fantasy of this guy with, like, long, dark hair. I don't know. And then I said his name would be something like, I forgot what I said. I don't know. It wasn't, I said something like that in my old video, and I said he'd like to read. And Devin likes to read. I mean, just stuff like that. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird, it's magical. I guess that's what you can call it. What is spirit? What is spiritual? But this experience, it is spiritual. All the time. So where I'm not having a spiritual experience, I mean I am, but I'm not. I'm having this experience called being a human being. I guess this is what it's all about. But it's just so weird sometimes. And then you go outside and there's bugs. Can we just talk about bugs? Like, they're so tiny. That shit, like, they're so tiny. So I'm like massaging my scalp with this thing. It feels so good. Oh yeah. But anyway. I make up all kinds of things in my head. Sometimes they're very negative. But I don't like to stress myself out by trying to control every thought, because it's just not possible. But what you can do is talk to your thoughts, because it might be another being. Your thoughts might be other beings. If I'm being honest with you, I think that could possibly be part of a piece of the whole, is that our thoughts are other beings. And if you're going to have a negative thought, then you're talking to the being in a negative way. Like if you have a negative thought about somebody and then you start having a fight in your head, then you're talking to the other being like that in your head, and they know how you feel and you know how they feel. But that's why you need to change how you talk to them in your head. You know? You need to change how you talk to them, Because I used to do that with my coworkers. I used to have negative conversations with them in my head. And we didn't like each other. But now I don't. I try my best to not have that. You know, I try my best. Sometimes I do, and that's natural. You can't always be positive. That's just not how life is. All you can do is try your best. You know? That's all you can ever do. I used to be obsessed with controlling my thoughts. I feel like it was very stressful for me. And it felt like a chore. It felt like a chore. Yeah. But yeah. You know? I hope that makes sense. You know? Sydney, that was her name. In Hawaii, the model. Sydney. Hi, Sydney. She was so sweet. She was very sweet and beautiful. Just like my friend Collie. They were both sweet and beautiful. In their own ways. Everyone's always so different. Every single person I've met is completely different than every other person. You know? It's actually amazing how different we are. But we all have, you know, emotions. We all have the same emotions. We're just very different personalities, and I don't know. It's pretty interesting. We're like snowflakes. No two are the same. It's the truth. You'll never meet someone like that other person. It's just not gonna happen. You might meet someone new that will make you feel a new way, you know? Where you're not gonna have, you know, it's just, and there's nothing wrong with that. Because, I mean, if you think about it, if you miss somebody, they're probably still alive. What's there to be sad about? They're still alive, living their lives. So don't cry. You know, I cried many times about people I miss, like my exes and my friends, and you just gotta realize that they're still alive. And life isn't over yet. Actually, it probably just began, because if you think about it, I've been alive for 24 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 3 more 20 years until I'm 80. That's 3 more lifetimes. And I'm already pretty wise. Imagine how much I'll know when I'm 80. Because I'll have experienced a lot more. And I'll understand more, perhaps. Maybe I'll understand less, because I'll have amnesia. Swear to God, I have amnesia, bruh. It's like sometimes I'll forget the stove is on, and I'll leave it on all night. It's not good, because that stove gets really hot. Yeah, it's not an electric stove. I think it's a gas stove. Unless it is an electric stove. I don't know, but it's one of those old ones. It gets really hot. But, you know, I've been trying my best to remember. I make it a conscious effort. You know, and sometimes, like, you'll have a negative conversation in your head and you'll be like, why am I thinking this? And you're like, wait, maybe it's because we're talking and we're having a negative conversation with each other. Maybe we need to stop talking to each other like that in our heads and talk positive to each other and use the power of forgiveness. And then maybe my thoughts will be clean and your thoughts will be clean too about me. And then we'll love each other again. You know? And have a pure heart instead of an angry one. That can happen with anybody. I don't know, I'm getting tired. But thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.